Hey, what's going on? Happy March Madness. Back with another installment of Bottom to the Top Hoops. It's E. Jones.
Black Elvis, we're in the building.
Yes, we are in the building. And only in order for us to be in the building, we have to thank our sponsors because they help us make this happen. Want to give a huge shout out to T-Mobile, always holding us down from the beginning. Who else we got, Al?
Shout out to B2TTH.
B2TTH for sure, man. Big shout out to the world famous Harlem Wizards. You know, we always talk about it, man. If you need a fundraiser, even in this virtual space, the WizFit Challenge is great. It's popping. Things are going well with the program. Who else we shouting out?
Big shout out to MMCC, Montefiore.
Yes, sir. And my man, JT's Juices and Teas, Sharif Dhaka, bringing that energy, bringing that love, man. Great herbal teas. Check them out at JT's Juices and Teas on the gram. And big shout out to Positive Hustle PH, the clothing line. Check them out at Positive Hustle PH on the gram. So L, man, we got a topic that is very, very relevant and very current for right now, that we think that high school and college players need to really, really take a look at. We're talking about
First things first.
So,
how you feeling?
Yo, man, let's get to that. Thanks to the good Lord, man. For those of you who didn't know, I did come in contact and I contracted the COVID-19 virus. I quarantined for the allotted 10 days. I got a negative test afterwards. I was cleared to be able to resume to, previous activity. I have a clean bill of health. For the goodness of God, I was asymptomatic predominantly, and I feel great. I was able to get in some good shape. I was taken care of, man. I quarantined in the hotel. Thank God my wife was negative and she was good. So, man, we covered, and I'm blessed and I'm fortunate, and thank you for asking, brother. So
okay, sorry about that. But
no.
Going through it.
But it didn't stop for us, right? We still in communication. We still getting stuff done, man. And I appreciate.
Hey, we did the last one. You was in the hotel.
That's right, man. But that just goes to show you when you got a good team around you and good people around you, it never stops. And thank you for holding me down. You covered that OSL senior night. If y'all haven't checked that out, man, check out that video. Super dope. High-level athletes, great talent, great families.
Yeah, hold on. Let's get to that, man. It was a lot of high flying,
Yo, you was there. You was there. Speak to it, brother.
Well, it was a lot of high flying and a lot of long threes, a lot of Trae Youngs and Steph Curry's going on in the building.
Was it some defense though?
Yo, honestly, not saying it because we on camera. It was very competitive. I was very shocked to see what the way you guys set it up really made it that way.
Yeah, so for those of the people who didn't know, OSL wanted to keep a confined space. So they combined a team of 8 players for the seniors that are leaving the program from the prep program and the high school national team and the regional team. And they made up 2 teams of 8. They did a draft. They let the prep assistants coach one team and they let the high school assistants coach the other. And it was just a competitive game. And, they gave out Nike gift cards and it was just really cool to see that the kids, they wanted to play and they wanted to put on a show for the families that came. And it was safe, it was fun, and it was a celebration of the program, man. 5 years, man. 5 years since Coach Peter Way took over, and the program is thriving, man. And I think we're at, in the last 5 years, I think we're at over 20 Division I commits.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations to that.
It's huge, man. So, and this next topic, it's funny that we talk about this, but some of our kids have been affected by it. And we're talking about the transfer portal. I've seen it go from 200 to 300 to 600 to up to 850 kids transferring from Division I schools.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 360 Division I schools, so that's like 2.5 kids per year that are transferring And we're just talking Division I right now. But
That's it.
obviously, you can enter the transfer portal from Division II as well. So we want to take a deeper dive into what does it mean? How does it affect, the kids who are transferring? Why is it happening? And how does it affect the high school kids? Because ultimately everybody gets affected. So this alarming rate of transfers, Al, does it disturb you? Do you feel like it's a bad trend? What's your immediate stance in terms of how you feel about the way it's going and how it's been spiraling up so much?
I mean, I guess I'm 50-50 because I know some kids who's actually benefited from the from the portal. And then I know some kids who got thrown in the ocean because of it.
Right.
So it can kind of go both ways for me.
Okay. So with that being said, there's a couple of reasons that a kid transfers from a school. Number one, it wasn't a good fit socially. Number two, it wasn't a good fit athletically. Style of play, style of coaching, being played out of position, not getting minutes, disgruntled with how you're being used, just not a good fit from an athletic standpoint. There's a couple of those reasons. Academically, you may not hold up to your standards, so you fall below a 2.0. And again, that's from the player side. From the coach's side, and I'll give you an example. John Calipari got hired at Kentucky. They weren't playing at a Kentucky standard. They were bringing in a guy who had been in national championships, Final Fours, and was one of the hottest coaches in America. At the time, he was at Memphis. Calipari said, all right, y'all gonna let me do this my way? They said, yeah, they committed to the money. He said, all right, cool. Let's get all the coaches in the meeting first, right? I'm bringing in all new staff. Now all of the kids that are here, I want to see all of y'all. And based on what I see in this workout, some of y'all going to be able to stay. The rest of you guys, I'll help you find another school, but you can't play here. Because obviously, some of you guys don't belong here. And you were recruited to play here, and you're not of the level of the championship level that we want to be able to have here at Kentucky. Which, if you can remember, was the advent or the popularity of the one and done. John Calipari he's the godfather of the one and done.
He's the poster child for that.
Yeah. So that's what we call a runoff. It may have been 4 or 5 kids in that season where Calipari said, your services are no longer needed. And stand up dude, did it with integrity. But at the end of the day, not everybody does. Because these coaches sit in your living rooms and they talk to these parents about how great things are going to go for your child. And then that's a two-way contract where the child has to live up to his or her side of the bargain. And if for some reason something goes awry, one party decides if they still want to stay committed. Because the contract has been breached. Kids have stolen laptops on campus. A kid got into a fight on campus. A kid's got caught smoking weed. So now it's going to come down to what is your production? How good are you? What is your value to that program? Because if the value's not high, odds are they're taking the route to say, I got a reason. Get rid of him. He was a cancer anyway. Get rid of her. She's not worth it. They're looking for an out. But if you're getting 16-7, let's meet. Let's talk about this. Kids make mistakes, So it can work for you or against you. How do you protect yourself? Get buckets and be productive. Not saying you can go and bug out, but if you were watching the NCAA tournament, I saw Tom Izzo arguing with a player coming off the court. And the kid argued right back at Tom Izzo. I said, oh my God. He's yelling at Tom Izzo and they beefing and barking at each other, but that's the culture he has. And that kid was a very, very important player. And at the end of the day, they're like, it's no big deal. I said, wow. Let that be one of those kids on a walk-on.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
Hey, let me add this to you. What people got to understand also when it's time for recruitment, that these guys are human. And their job is to influence you, to make it look awesome.
Attractive.
Very attractive, to make it look crazy. Like, oh no, even if we don't get there our freshman year and really like our sophomore year, we're going to dominate because he's going to learn the program like the coach said. He's got to get adjusted to being a D1 player. It's all crap. At the end of the day, everybody's trying to complete their bottom line. And if I recruit you in and sow you a dream, and now you're going into your sophomore year, but I can go get a kid who's stronger, who's faster, who might be taller, who might be a better student. This is why it's so important for our student athletes to understand. That's why the word student is in there. You have to, at some level, it's got to click. You got to be a student as well, because these guys are recruiting at that position all across the country. Gotta know if you're a horrible student and this kid can do exactly what you do, I'd be a fool to not go with this kid if he has a B+ average when you have a C average.
Kids don't think it's important. They don't think it's important to always be in shape. They don't think it's always important to be working on their game. It's somebody coming after you. And they want what you want. And that 11 points and 3 rebounds is great. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Duke won the national championship, okay? The kid named Nolan Smith, who's now coaching at Duke, was the most outstanding player in the national championship game. He got the MVP. The next year, they brought in Kyrie Irving. Nolan Smith came off the bench.
Unbelievable.
Kyrie Irving could be the best NBA point guard to ever play the game. It's a stretch, but before it's all said and done, he may be.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Kyrie is what, 6'1"?
No, 6'3.5".
Oh, then that changes everything I was just about to say. Because, Kyrie, I'm like, he got some bounce with him.
But think about it. Kyrie is a generational talent. Coach K knows that. Nolan Smith, thank you. We're still going to get you to the promised land. And he did play in the NBA for a little while. Mm-hmm. But this is Kyrie, right? Mm-hmm. So and I'm just making stuff up, right? Let's just say, let's take an NBA 3-man. Let's say you got Michael Beasley. No, that's a bad example. Let's say you got a good example. What's the dude? RJ Barrett, right? Is that his name from the Knicks? Mm-hmm. You got RJ Barrett, big time player, right? Goes to Duke. Let's say he comes back for his sophomore year and you got a chance to get LeBron. RJ Barrett's at the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Respectfully, we'll find some minutes for you, but this is LeBron.
Yeah.
And people take it so personally when their children get over-recruited. And they talk about, there's no loyalty. Man, they told me this and they told you that. I just would like coaches to start being honest and saying, listen, for what we have now, this is what we see. Going forward, I can't promise you anything, but he's definitely going to get a fair opportunity to go out and prove himself. That's a fair statement. Because if you
okay, but let me say this to you. What about the other side? I'm a coach. I identify a kid that I feel that's going to be a great fit for my program.
Yep.
I go out and see this kid about 3 times over the summertime during my recruiting process.
Yep.
The kid gets to the school and he's just not what I expected.
It's not it.
It happens.
I'm making a phone call right away to the parent, to the AAU coach. Listen, man, check this out. such and such is not getting it done. He's struggling right now. We're going to support him. We're going to support her. We're going to try to get him to the finish line. But I'm just letting you know, coming late to practice, not staying after.
No, I'm not even talking about nothing as far as off the court. Sometimes
you're just not the player.
It is real that kids are like the coach.
You're not
the
that
coach
deal.
Expected a 9, and he got a 6.5. And then he identifies with the reality of the situation. Now the coach starts treating the kid differently.
No, that's what I wouldn't do. I would be honest with the kid and say, listen, you're not getting it done. And at the end of the day, like, you got to work. You got to go get better. Like, you want to earn minutes. Like, it's not over for you, but I'm telling you where you are right now. And so parents, I'm going to take a minute just to talk to the parents for a second. And I got to really talk into the camera. Because somebody is not in agreement with you, because somebody doesn't believe the same thing that you believe, and their goal is to give you the truth about where your child is, it doesn't mean they're non-supportive. It doesn't mean that they're hating. It doesn't mean that they don't believe in your child. What it means is they're making a basketball assessment. And their assessment is probably not going to be the same as yours, because parents are naturally going to have a bias. AAU coaches are naturally going to have a bias because it's your child, and you should be supportive. But you also got to have some people that you trust to give you an unbiased opinion on where your kid is. If you're shooting 28% from 3 and you're supposed to be a knockdown shooter, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, you're not a knockdown shooter.
Nah, but I'm telling you, he's a rhythm. It's nothing to tell me. Look at the numbers. The kid's not.
Numbers don't lie.
So I wanted to jump. That was a very good point, El. And I wanted to jump in the other side of it. So El, right? No, first I'll ask you the question. I'll set this up better. If somebody said to you, Elvis Blount, what kind of guy are you? Right? Like, I want to hire you for my company. What kind of guy can we expect to get in here? What would you say in short? Like, describe yourself in a couple of words.
Very transparent, black and white, high integrity, and just looking to get along and make things happen. That's who I am.
That's who you are, right? That was a very concise, very accurate, I would say, description of who you are. What that tells me is that you have a very, very good knowledge of self. So nobody's really going to sway you because you know who you are. So you have to be conscious of what you're adding on to you. And we've had this conversation on camera. The people you affiliate yourself with, the things that you do, the places that you go, all of the things that you post. So that's a part of your resume. So when you say, I'm a stand-up guy, but you go rob a bank, no, but he got a good heart, though. You see what I'm saying? It's hard for you to stand up on that. So now, parents, I'm going to get to my point. You are building your child's resume from the time they start playing athletics. If your child is emotional, or your child is a whiner, or a complainer, or your child has transferred 7 times, if your child has been with 16 AAU teams, all of those things are attached to your resume. So you might not look at it as a big deal, but you're going to have to go for a job one day, and they're going to ask you for your school history, and they're going to say, man, this kid went to 5 colleges. Wonder why? Maybe he's a runner. Right? So the truth of it, El, is I went to St. Raymond's. I transferred and went to Our Savior Lutheran. I went to junior college, and I went to a 4-year school. And I'm saying to myself, like, damn, I'm bouncing around a lot, right? But that was my path. So oftentimes, kids are transferring 3 and 4 times in high school. Then they're getting to college, and they're transferring 3 or 4 times. What I'm saying is that's a pattern. Every time there's smoke, you're out of there. Like, nah, man, everything is, they jerking me. It can't always be the other person. So when you're the one transferring consistently and moving around, there's a common denominator. So I want to just be transparent with those parents and say, create stability before you make decisions. Think them out, weigh them out, and know that it's important. That's something that's going on your docket and your resume as a positive or a negative. So when you go in the portal, you might not have chose the right school, but I'm hearing on the NCAA tournament, yeah, this is his third school. Yeah, this is his fourth school. Yeah.
Got it.
That doesn't mean every case is like that. I'm generalizing. I know that, kids get injured. There's some family issues. Sometimes kids got to move closer to home. There's all kind of scenarios that warrant this stuff. And you as a parent have to make the best choice for your child. And we're not telling you what to do. We're just telling you the other side of how
it looks.
This is how you're viewed. I speak to the coaches. They're like, I'm not going to touch that kid. And they're telling me I don't want to touch him or her because I just don't like the instability. They ask me all the time, who's involved? What's this dad like? What's this parent like? Nah, it's too much for us. Not going to fly. Our administration won't like it. They talk to you too, El. What is the feedback that you get from coaches about kids or parents that kind of sometimes have a little bit of extra stuff with them and what their feedback is?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to make it real sweet, short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
If your kid ain't over 6'7", 6'8", it's probably not going to be worth the headache. And I hope I don't even have to go into detail when I just use that analogy.
You know what, El? Humor me.
Okay.
Give me a little detail.
Okay, so when I show up to a game,
mm-hmm.
and I'm a coach and I'm coming to recruit a kid,
mm-hmm.
the worst thing in America is to constantly hear a voice, someone screaming, that's not the coach. So then I inquire, who's that? Oh, that's the kid's dad. Oh, that's the kid's uncle. Come on, ref, you killing us. Yo, you ref. So why me as a person watching him, knowing it's only going to intensify the more I get to know him?
What about the body language of a child, where sometimes the calls don't go their way?
Okay. That's genius. Because let me explain to you. When I coached
mm-hmm.
and I called the timeout, and we was going over something in the huddle, whether we was changing the defense or whether I was trying to get them to run a motion offense because everybody's standing around, it's too much one-on-one. I used to love when I would have somebody
stargazing.
Guess what? Get them. I used to get off on that. I'm being honest. I say because
you just said you're transparent, bro.
Yo, I used to get off on it, because, all right.
It was your opportunity to set example.
We're here in a 32-minute game, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Your attention span is that short for something that you claim you love? So to wrap it up, when these coaches come, it's almost scary sometimes how parents and, like family members display their actions, the way they are responding to refs and calls and just sometimes the coach and the way the coach is coaching their kid. It's ridiculous. And I could keep going.
Well, I'll wrap it up. And thank you for going into that detail. I'll wrap it up by saying this. Parents, all of the information that we give you on this show, if you watch this show, it's only to help. And some of it is tough to take and some of it applies, but if it don't apply, let it fly. That's what I say, right? If you are the parent who are doing this, we're all human, but you got to make the adjustment.
Let me say this, E, because you played at a major level.
Mm-hmm.
And I recall when I played, and I was playing at a major level, E,
mm-hmm.
my parents was not coming to my games, bro. The only time they came is if it was a championship game or like, you know, if we went out of town, they might want to go like just to like just get so they could enjoy the little trip too. But it wasn't like a job and then making me feel like my job is basketball. And I feel a lot of parents are putting that type of pressure on their children today. They're living vicariously through the children, but you're making it a job. The kid wants to have fun.
Stealing the child's joy. And in cases like that, you'll see that kids don't even finish out a college career. And it's sad because they get burnt out. They get burnt out. They get over basketballed. And it's not from a standpoint of working out too much. The pressure wears on you. The imbalance wears on you. Like, you got to be the kid's dad. You got to take them to do regular stuff. I remember being in the Boy Scouts. I remember playing baseball, football, hanging out with my friends. And it's just like, I get it. There's a focus, and I'm all with like being passionate and going hard with basketball, but it's not where the world starts and ends. You got to have other stuff that you do. You got to be, you know, people want to know that you can play the piano. They want to know that, you know what I'm saying? You enjoy, you know, going to the movies. You can't just be a one-trick pony, because when the ball stops bouncing, you got to be able to do something else, right? Like, we would love to be still doing stuff with hoops, and we still do, but we started a podcast. You do video editing. You produce a TV show, a web series. Like, we are people who exemplify using the game and not letting the game use you. And we know we're talking about the transfer portal, but how this applies is these decisions that you're making now that you think don't matter in middle school or elementary school or in high school or in college, they do affect your life in some way. And hopefully you don't have to learn the lesson the hard way and make bad choices. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but let's try to lessen those gaps and think about what we're doing. Control our behaviors, be solid with your choices, and let the kids have an experience and have fun with what they're doing, man.
That's it. Well said, E. Well said.
Thank you, man. So I'm in second place in my bracket right now. I'm doing good. You know, Ohio messed up my bracket, beating Virginia. Man, Oral Roberts took Ohio State down. It's been some good games, man. I still really like Gonzaga. I like Gonzaga to win it all. You got any feedback on the NCAAs?
I say that again.
You got any feedback on the NCAA tournament?
Nah. I got to see how I go today.
Say less. Well, check us out: YouTube, Spotify, Apple TV, and make sure you get on that bcomtv.com. A lot of great new content. Make sure you check out the podcast, Off the Grid. Check out the new seasons of Decisions coming. Big shout out to the team, Jerry Ice D Jones. I know I'm taking your plugs, Al, but you know, I always got to show you love, bro. You working.
It's all good. You the host. You got it.
That's what else? Who you shouting out, my G?
Shout out to my boy Sap. Like you said, shout out to the Decisions team. We back. Go check that out. Episode 8 and 9 is on YouTube right now. So on bcomtv.com. Check out that Off the Grid. We just working, man. Staying focused, and want to give big shout outs to the man who always make all of this happen. Man upstairs.